Dad raised his glass first. Crystal chimed. Laughter swirled. Lights shimmered off garlands and wine. Then he said it. We've decided to sell the family company. And before anyone asks, your brother's getting it all. The room erupted in applause. Even Mom smiled through her champagne. My brother, Matthew, nodded like a prince accepting his crown. I smiled too calmly because I already knew and because they had no idea who they were toasting. So when I asked who handled the deal, it was with genuine curiosity. Dad puffed up. Some private investor group, Orion Group, I think. That was when I laughed softly, slowly, like the sound of a match being struck. Dad, I am Orion Group. The silence that followed wasn't just awkward. It was seismic, the kind that makes you hear the blood rushing in your ears. The company Harlan and Sons was our legacy. My grandfather built it from nothing. My father inherited it. Matthew and I were raised in its shadow. Him in the boardroom, me in the workshop, when I designed a new logistics system that doubled efficiency. Dad called it luck. When Matthew approved a bad deal that cost us half a year's revenue, Dad called a learning experience. The pattern was clear. I was the workhorse. Matthew was the heir. Still I stayed, because I believed loyalty would mean something eventually. Then one afternoon, I overheard them through the office door. Dad will transfer ownership before he even knows. He doesn't understand business anyway. Matthew, he'll get over it. He always does. That was the moment something inside me froze. Over, not broke, froze. The betrayal wasn't just about the company. It was the casual cruelty of it. They didn't just steal my future. They laughed while doing it. A week later, I saw the paperwork, the sale contract, a shell deal. The assets of Harlan and Sons would be acquired by a holding firm in Dubai, fronting for an anonymous investment group. The payout was structured so Matthew would get controlling equity, and my name nowhere. When I confronted Dad, he didn't even look ashamed. It's business, son. You're too emotional for this kind of responsibility. That sentence haunted me until it started fueling me. Emotionally weak. Fine. I'd be strategically lethal. Instead, I spent 3 months mapping every division, every vulnerability, every debt ledger. Then I founded Orion, grouped quietly under a trust managed by a law firm in Singapore. Through intermediaries, Orion began buying Harlan's debt piece by piece, supplier, invoices, equipment leases, shipping, rights, even a mortgage on the main warehouse. By the time they started the sale negotiations, half of what they thought they owned was already mine. I watched from a distance as my father boasted about the offer to Matthew, how he'd finally secured the future. He had no idea he'd just signed it over to me. Phase 1, silence. I let them think they'd won. Phase 2, acquisition, and group expressed interest in Harlan, and Sons using a Luxembourg intermediary to maintain anonymity. Dad, ever the proud negotiator, refused to do due diligence. They're offering above market value. He bragged to everyone. We'd be fools not to take it. The deal closed in 6 weeks. Every signature flawless. Every clause ironclad. On paper, or Ian acquired Harlan for $47 million. In reality, I paid $12 million because I already owned most of its debts. Phase 3, transfer. Once the ink dried, I quietly moved all core patents and systems into a new entity, Harland Technologies. Mine alone, the shell my father and brother thought they sold was now nothing more than empty offices and goodwill. And now here we were, Christmas dinner, the final act. Dad's words still hung in the air. Your brother's getting it all. Everyone clapped, everyone except me. When I said, "Who handled the deal?" and he answered, "Or I in group," the room went quiet the moment I spoke my truth. "Dad, I am Orion in group." The sound of forks. Clattering was almost musical. Matthew blinked first. "You're lying." I leaned back, then checked the registration. "Documents." I made sure your signature is on every page. Mom's face drained of color. Dad's hand trembled as he reached for his phone. "You bought us out," he whispered. "No, Dad," I said calmly. "I bought you. You sold everything that mattered to me." I slid a folder across the table. Inside were the new company filings. The Harlem name was gone. The employees, the loyal ones, had already transferred to Harlan Technologies. You said I didn't understand business. I told him. Turns out I just learned from the best. I stood up, leaving my untouched wine. The fireplace hissed. Behind me, the smell of pine and roasted turkey hanging in the air. No one spoke as I walked toward the door. Dad's voice finally cracked. "You destroyed this family." I stopped, turned slightly. "No, I said you sold it." Outside, snow was falling in slow, perfect silence. The kind that erases everything beneath it. As I got into my car, I looked back at the house, the place that taught me loyalty without love, family without fairness. I didn't feel guilt, just closure. The world always assumed Orion was named after the constellation. It wasn't. It was for the hunter. And tonight, the hunt was